Should I be worried by the recent banking turmoils that have impacted the stock market? The turmoil around the headlines and the news has been significant. And I decided that it was probably important to address it. At first, I wasn't necessarily interested in addressing it because felt like it was sensationalized. But I really want to add some clarity for many of you out there who may have an interest in wanting to go a little deeper. So, March 2023 has been a significant month for banks in the United States and also globally. On March 10th, we had Silicon Valley Bank succumb to a bank run, resulting in the largest U.S. bank failure since 2008, global financial crisis. And 2 days later, a second regional U.S. bank, Signature Bank, was shut down. The development actually did not stop there in the United States, but Switzerland's largest bank, UBS, agreed to buy its rival, Credit Suisse, in a rescue deal to help ease concerns in the global financial markets stemming from the turmoil facing some of the American banks. So, all this to say, you as an investor might be worried and eyeing your exposure to banks. So while it's natural to worry about the sensational news headlines currently being published, it's also important to kind of take a step back and look at the larger, bigger picture. Regardless of whether a bank or any company, for that matter, fails or not, your investment plan should not fail. And what I mean by that is companies come and go, banks come and go, ebb and flow, but your investment plan actually should have a strategy that's disciplined, that does not change with the conversations or the headlines that we're experiencing. It doesn't mean that you don't need to be aware, but we don't make drastic changes based on headlines. So, how do we do that? What is some of the most important things? And an easy but often underestimated tool to help avoid concerns about individual companies is to diversify globally and across industry sectors. And thanks to financial innovation, we have access to mutual funds and exchange traded funds that are relatively inexpensive, that allows investors to now access thousands of securities diversified across countries and sectors, and as I said, at a very low cost. So while not all risk can be diversified away, such as the risk of an economic recession, diversification is still a very, very powerful tool to reduce the risk that any one company or industry or country might face. For instance, Silicon Valley Bank was just one of more than 9,000 companies in the MSCI All Country World Index. The MSCI All Country World Index represents a mere Silicon Valley Bank in that index represented a mere 0.03%. So incorporating diversification in your investment plan might help you avoid some of the pitfalls that concentrated portfolios face. And it's also important to remember that uncertainty is nothing new and that investing inherently comes with risks. Think about the events that we have had over the last 3 years, from a global pandemic to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, spiking inflation, and the fear of recession. There's been plenty of causes for concern regarding the state of the world and the capital markets. And despite all of those events over the last 3 years, the broad market cap weighted index has been positive, over 11% in US annualized. So, having a sound financial plan can help investors weather through periods of uncertainty. Key. Also, having the discipline to stick with that plan through uncertain periods. So, rather than trying to predict or make sudden movements as a reaction to them, investors that do are generally able to reap long-term benefits. And what I mean by that is that investors that do not react, that have a disciplined plan, reap those benefits, and they also maintain their peace of mind through inevitable ups and downs that come with investing in capital markets. So I'm here to say that the headlines that we've had for 3 years are a lot to talk about. But if you have a disciplined investment plan that's globally diversified through all asset classes, an individual impact like these banks, these regional banks, and even the Silicon Valley Bank and even Credit Suisse, tiny impact in the overall piece of your plan. It doesn't feel any better, but recognize its impact and stay diversified and make sure you tie it to a financial plan. If this is helpful, please share it with someone else, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. Thank you.